Hello everyone, and welcome to Not Roll. In fact, we are going to do a very brief retrospective over yesterday's 22 position scoring run for 2.28 to the 27th power, or the 27th exponent. And so I've had some people asking to spend a little more time analysing what's going on, so I thought we would do that in post since I can't go back to the moment we recorded it. So, these were the dice that we were working with whilst we were at E24, and then one of the next rolls that we're going to do is going to put us up to E27. So how did we get there? Well, up at the top you can see the ones with the shopping carts are just giving us extra rerolls. They're not really important to the scoring. This question mark is a wild that copies the largest scoring dice score of any other dice. The clovers help us be more consistent with our lottery faces because they increase the chance of the lottery face going off. And then we'll ignore that 20% times a quarter for a moment. This die over here on the left is just all 1% chance at scoring 77,777. Some of them have multipliers on them, but that's all that dice is doing. Down here, all of these dice are just rolling the previous roll times 10 of that dice. So this dice, whenever it's rolled, will always score 0, but that's fine because we're not trying to score on this dice. The other thing we should mention before we discuss these two remaining dice is that each one of these has a 3 times reroller on it. So every time you click the mouse or the spacebar to make all the rolls happen, all of the 5 dice will roll together 4 times. So they'll roll again, they'll roll a 3rd time, they'll roll a 4th time. So how did we get from E24 to E27? Well, the key thing is getting a couple of important rolls all to happen in a row. So a few things that we also need to know is that we have a thing called rigged machine, which means when we have a lottery that is successful, the next time a lottery face is rolled on that die, it will be a guaranteed success. So at the moment, every time this face is rolled, we have a 50% chance at scoring 100. Let's make this bigger. We have a 50% chance of rolling 100, which is only worth 100 points. Now, after we've rolled that, if the next die face that we roll is this guy, it's guaranteed to score us 77,777, which is wonderful because that's way bigger than 100. Now, what's also happening at the same time is this die has these swirly patterns called voids. If a void is not the face that is showing, it doubles the score on that die. But because we have 3 of them, this is worth times 2, this is worth times 4, and this is worth times 8. So whenever we roll one of the other dice faces of this die, whatever that value is times by 8. So if we roll the 50% chance at 100 and we're successful, then we roll the 1% chance at 77,777, we're guaranteed to get that thanks to the rigged machine. That number is also being times by 8 thanks to the voids. And just very small here in the corner, you can see that we've added a times 99 multiplier to that. So we're also getting that number times 99. Now on the next roll, you then have to hope that the 10 times previous roll is rolled. So first, you want this to be successful, then you want this to be guaranteed, and then after that, you want 10 times whatever this die rolled, because obviously that's going to be an even bigger number. Then at the same time, when this rolls 10 times its previous die, so whatever this number is, times by 10, that's what this dice is scoring. And then, over here, we have 20% chance at the value of being 1/4 of whatever the rest of the die roll is worth. So if this goes off on that same roll that this times 10 previous roll happens, we are scoring 1/5 of whatever this roll is, but then we're also timesing that by about 70. And all of these things start to layer upon each other to produce one incredibly large number at the end. We also have many other passives that are boosting our score as we go. So because none of our die faces are 99, we're getting a few extra doublings or triplings of our score. Every time that we roll 2 of something, we get extra percentages to our score as well. So here, when we roll this 1% chance at 77,000 and all the 7s, it's always going to roll a pair with this side. And so when you roll doubles, you get more score. The same happens with this previous roll times 10. When we roll that, we will always roll it as part of a pair, so we will always get more score. And so by layering all these things together, we end up with a roll result that takes us from E24 all the way up to E27 at once. Now, it's very hard to get all of those perfect things to happen all at once. That's why I thought I was probably going to end up around E24 at the end, because it's really hard to get all those building blocks to work at the same time. There are even more things that are working in the background for us as well. We have a passive called slot machine as opposed to rig machine. And when you have slot machine, you are getting a lottery face here, a lottery face here, and a lottery face here. Then whatever happens on the middle die is increased by its score as well. And then we also have things like 800% extra score on our die faces. We have, on our lottery faces. We have extra points when, what was I about to say? What was I about to say? We have extra points for the lottery faces, we have doubles, we have non-99s, we have extra points because none of our die faces have weights on them. And let me just see if I can find the screenshot of passives a second. Oops. This is what you get for having your hotkeys listed places, right? So here we can see a bunch of the other passives that we have. So because we have fewer than 6 die, our score is being increased by 300%. Whatever we roll, we add the previous roll to it when something is re-rolled. Whenever we re-roll, we get 50% extra added to it. If we have less than 6 die, we get 500% more. Our lottery bonuses are worth 500% more. When we re-roll, it's worth another 100% more. When we re-roll, our lotteries are twice as likely to happen when they aren't successful, which means the 50% chance at 100 is always doubled. This is the top 3 dice that we have are multiplied by 10, and any other dice are halved. And so because we're trying to bump one die up very large, timesing it by 10 increases our score by 1 decimal point over again. We have a times 18 factor. So if you take 18, divide it by 5, you get 3 in a remainder. So we times the whole thing by 3 because we have 5 dice. What else do we have? No 99s we've discussed. We can have doubles on non-numeric faces. That's why our lottery faces can exist with doubles bonuses. And you just stack all of these things on top of each other and you end up with an incredibly large score going up to E27. So you see here on the left, this die that we're hovering over now, unfortunately I didn't hover over the other dice, but this die was worth nothing this entire roll. However, the presence of the 177, 777, when that face was rolled on the center die, it guaranteed us a double. It meant that we got extra bonus points on that one. And so that's how we went from E24 to E27, and why it was so unlikely that if we continue to roll now, if this number changes from 2-2 on an E27 very much now, these numbers are basically not changing because we need to get that exact success, the one roll that we really needed to hit. Yeah, there's past me going over it. If we don't hit that exact series of faces again, we can't score as big as we did previously. We can only score smaller numbers, which at this scale aren't having much more of an impact on our score. Even gonna be impacted. So that was really wordy, but I hope that helps explain what was happening here, why this was all 1% of the 77s, why this was all at 10 times previous roll modifiers, and how all of the score basically comes off of these 2 dice doing a perfect roll in sequence and waiting for the big multiplier to pop off. If you have any other questions about this, by all means, please put them down in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for another regular run of some description. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thank you for commenting and answering questions on this. I'm really happy with the score that we got. And now we need to see about trying to get 16 or 25 dice going for much larger, more complicated combos. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.